All right, it says we're live. I just wanted to welcome everybody to the ScrappyDew Live Event where you guys can hopefully learn something that you didn't know before. And today's topic is going to be we're going to be talking about importing PDFs and what's the difference between a raster PDF as well as a vector PDF. But I just wanted to do a quick introduction of who's here tonight. Now, typically Ken would be here. However, he had a family emergency. He could not attend tonight's show. So I'm joined by Michelle Mybell. I'm going to let her introduce herself and tell you who she is. So you can go ahead, Michelle.
Hi everyone, I'm Michelle, design team leader for ScrappyDew Creations, and you can find my blog at michellemybellcreations.com.
All right. All right, so just want to go over the quick how Google Hangouts work on here. Now, if you have any questions, feel free to post them. You can post them on the YouTube channel. You can post them on where you're watching the live event. So wherever you're watching this, you can type your questions in the comments below, and we will track them and we will bring them up. Okay. Now, also keep in mind that there's about a 30 to 60 second delay between what is currently being talked about and then when you get to view it. Okay. So there's 30 to 60 second delay. So if we have moved on to a new topic, don't worry, we'll answer your questions, okay? So just don't worry about it, and feel free to ask any question. And it doesn't have to be about the topic we have, because we will save all those questions that we see towards the end, and then we'll go through them in the order that we receive them. All right, so tonight's lesson is going to be about importing PDFs, and Michelle's going to show you how to do this. But I just wanted to stress just to give you guys an idea what the main difference between a vector PDF file and a non-vector PDF. So if you look over here, if you look at the top, right here, and both images look the same when they're very, very small, okay? But when you hit the plus button on a PDF and you increase that size, a vectored file should not be blurry. So as you can see, this right here is basically, a JPEG or a BMP, a bitmap, and this over here is an actual true vector. And you can do this with any PDF, see what is a vector and what isn't. And I'll bring this in here. This is a little Army manual, but as you zoom in, you can see how crisp and clear those letters are. So that means those letters are vectors. Okay, it's not a little image. So that is a basic down and dirty on what a vectored file is compared to a raster burn. And so that's that on the vectored and raster. And we're going to go ahead and turn it over to Michelle, and I'm going to monitor the questions that you guys have as she's going along. And I'm going to go ahead and turn the show over to her. So if Michelle, you're ready, you can go ahead and share your desktop, and I will make your screen the main screen.
Train is going by right now. Sorry, I need to stay muted for a second.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so like I said, if you guys have any questions, I know I see a couple new viewers that just popped in. If you have any questions, feel free to post them below, and we'll get to them in the order. Okay. And also keep in mind there's about 30 to 60 second delay between what we're talking about and what you guys actually see. So Michelle said there's a train going on in the background, and I guess she lives really close to a train. But she's going to show you how to bring a PDF in, a program such as Make the Cut, and so on. So I guess while her train's going on, I can look up some of these comments that we had. I know Jean, she had this one, and we did answer this, but you can always go to SusanBlueRobot.com and check out her videos. She goes over how to do this in the Popup card studio, and she goes over everything as far as how you create the shadows, how do you bring it in and make it a card. All right, I think Michelle is your train still going on, Michelle?
It's just coming now, sorry.
Oh, I can't hear anything. Let's see if this sound quality can pick it up or not.
It'll pick it up. Okay, I'm going to do a screen share. Yeah.
All right. So there's Michelle's screen.
Okay. I'm in Make the Cut. Can you see it?
Yep, we can see it.
Okay. All right, what I'm going to do is go to the PDF, and I have a PDF saved on my computer, and I'm going to click on it and open it and bring it in. Okay.
Now, Michelle, where did you get this PDF at?
This I got, sorry. Okay, if you go to vectorfree.com/vector design pack, okay, that's the PDF that I'm using.
Alrighty.
And then if you just go down here to download, and then you could save it to your desktop. Okay.
So it looks like this PDF has lots of stuff.
There's a lot of images on this PDF.
Yeah.
When you bring it in, it's only a page one. There's only one page to it.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a split. Okay. And then
just did a split, and it.
I just did a split.
Okay.
And then what I'm going to do is remove this background right here. So you can see it's separating.
Okay.
And I'm just going to delete it. Okay. Now the image, all the images are still grouped together. So we need to still split them so we can use them. Okay. And then once you split them, as you can see, they're still, what? Sorry about that. They still need to be joined together. So I'm just going to select and then I'm going to join them down here. If you click this icon, join. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is take that image and I'm going to put it on its own layer. And if you click right here, selection to layer. And then I'm also going to lock it. Click the lock button right there so I don't move it. And I'm going to do that with a couple of the images. I'm going to take that one and move it to its own layer. Lock it. And I'm going to select the heart here. And I'm going to do a join. That's right there. Again, I'm going to move that to its own layer.
Michelle, I think you selected a star in that as well. I didn't know if you wanted that or not.
Oh, did I? Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go back. Control Z to go back. Just unlock it. Okay, I'm just going to let that go for now. Okay, and I'm going to select the butterfly. And I'm going to join that. And I'm going to move that to its own layer. And this, I'm going to select this group right here and just delete that. Delete that. Delete most of this actually. You move the bird to its own layer. Okay. And once you move it to its own layer, Then this way, it's when I lock it, I could select a group of items and just hit delete. And I'm going to join that. Move that to its own layer. And I got a star with that as well. Okay, delete that. Okay, and as you can see here, the leaf and the scrolls, there's a piece right here. Okay, I don't know if you can tell. Let's see. And it's right here. Okay, that needs to be joined. Okay. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to work with the flower. This is sort of from last week's lesson about working with shapes and creating new shapes. I'm going to select this here, the flower, and I'm going to create a new page. First I'm going to do a copy, and I'm going to go up to here and I'm going to click here, and I'll just type in flower for the page and then click add, and then I'll paste in place. Okay, then I'm going to resize it larger. Okay, and then I'm going to do a shadow, and I'm going to take blackout off. Okay, and the shadow I'm going to leave it at rounded. There's rounded, mitered, and beveled. So I'm going to leave it on the rounded setting. And we'll leave it at the 18. And then I'm going to hit accept. Okay. And then I'm going to duplicate this layer here. And I'll do a copy. And I'm going to create a new layer. And click the plus sign right here. That creates a new layer. And then I'm going to paste in place. Okay, and I'm going to lock this bottom layer right here. I'm going to click on the lock to lock it. Okay, and I'm going to select all. And then I'm going to come down here again, and I'm going to click on join. Okay, and that created a little bit of a lacy flower.
That's kind of cool.
It is. It's pretty nice. And then if you see, I have an empty layer right here.
Yep.
And what you could do to get rid of that is you just click on the garbage can, and that will delete the empty layers. Okay. And now I'm going to create another layer. Excuse me, I'm going to create another shadow. Okay.
How'd you get the shadow? Was that a short key that you were used, or?
Oh yes, I'm sorry. I used Control H.
Control H.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to create a shadow. I'm going to again leave it at rounded, and I'm going to leave it at 1800. And the blackout I'm going to also leave unchecked for now, and then accept. Okay. So now, as you can see, we have three different images. And then what I'm going to do is lock these two here, these two layers here. I'm going to unlock the bottom layer. I'm going to select it, and I'm going to do another shadow. This time I'm going to check the blackout, and as you can see, that made a blackout shadow of this layer right here. And then I'm going to click accept. Okay. and I'm going to unlock those. Or if
So
you
it's
want
like you
to
took
unlock,
it's like you took a simple design and just made it your own.
correct. You can make when you have shapes like this, you could do a lot with the shadow feature. I mean, you can create so many different shapes, and it's such a good feature to use. It comes in handy a lot. Now I'm going to show you what we could do is color the different layers. Okay. So this one I'm going to do, well, you know what first I'll do is I'm going to move my matte. I'm going to change my matte here, see? I'm going to change it and put it on contrast. Okay. And then I'm going to come down here to the bottom layer and I'm going to make it a dark color. I'm going to make it a plum. And this one I will do a little bit lighter. And this one I'll go to this blue here. And I think I'll leave the top layer black. Okay. So now if I pull them apart, you can see all the shapes that I created just from that one image. And then
That's really cool.
Then I'm going to move them over here, and I'm going to select these, and I'm going to hit S for stack, and then I'm going to do a rotate. I'm going to change the handles to rotate, and I'm just going to rotate it I'm just going to rotate the top one. And do the same with this one. I'll rotate that one. Let me stack these. Okay. So now if you cut these out in your paper, you can take just these 2 layers and you could actually either make 4 layers, do 2 of each, and then you could in the center you could add a button. You can join them together with either any kind of embellishment that you want to stick in the middle. And this one at the top, this would be a good idea if you like to cut vellum. This would be pretty if you cut this out in vellum. It would give it a lacy effect. And then the bottom you can just cut out in your cardstock. And again, you can add a button here in the center. And that's and you could even layer these. You could layer all 4 of these layers together, and stack them individually, and you'd have a really pretty flower.
Looks very cool. So we went from importing a PDF, and then we isolated the shapes that we wanted by using the split and join, and then we brought it onto our own new page and made a unique design out of it using the shadow layers. Now I do see a quick question. If you could start like a new project or new page and bring in the PDF again.
Okay. And go up here.
And the question was, yep, PDF. All right, and they want to see that button that you used in order to. You said you used the split. Where's that button at?
Okay, it's down here. There it is. There's split.
Okay. So you use that first.
And then there's layer.
So you did a split and then a layer, or did you just use split?
You could do the layer first.
Okay.
And that will break the background from the PDF.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, the layer button breaks the it separates the background and the foreground. You'll always get 2 layers out of something whenever you use the layer button.
And then I just hit delete on the keyboard.
Yep, you hit delete, and then all those pieces right there now still stuck together.
They're still stuck together, correct.
Yep, and then in order to separate them, you'd have to use the split, and then go back in there and use
down to split. and then it splits them. And now each piece is individual. See?
Yep.
So that's why when you select them,
then you have to go back
then you
and
have to go
join them.
back, and you'd have to go to join right here.
Yep. So right there, she's isolating the pieces that she needs, and then she hits the join button. Now I was wondering if you could go back to your other the flower that you just created and just export that as an SVG, so we can later bring that into Silhouette Studio.
Okay.
And you'll show that you'll answer that question on how can you cut by layer.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cool. So we'll use what we made and make the cut, and then we'll show you how you can use it in another cutting program, such as Design Studio.
What you can do is you can split them apart if you like when saving them as an SVG, or you can leave them together, and you can just go to Select All, and then just go to File and Export, and then select File to SVG.
And one of the nice things about Make the Cut, when you export to an SVG, all the color coding that you gave that in Make the Cut gets saved with the file. So when you open it up in another program, Design Studio or Design Space, that it will show up in color. Okay, so that's a kind of cool feature that Make the Cut has.
Okay, and then I'm going to save it, and save to my desktop.
Yep, it's that quick. And Make the Cut also saves textures as well. It encodes it so that if you put a picture underneath there, it will save it as well. We tested this out in Surecuts a lot, and it did not transfer over.
And then if you wanted to save it as an MTC file, you just go to File, Save As, and then you could give it a name.
Yep.
And just type flower, and it will save it as a Make the Cut file.
All right. Very cool. Very cool. Now, is that all you wanted to show them with the PDF there, Michelle?
No, I can go to, let me minimize that. We also have a SVG converter as well. Let me get to that screen.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's a cool little. It's all online, and if you don't have Make the Cut or Surecuts a lot, and you do have a vector, it has to be a vector PDF. You upload it, and then you can download an SVG. So it's kind of cool, and I'll turn it over to Michelle. She can show you this.
And the address for that is if you go to tools.wmflabs.org/MISC2SVG. Okay, and what it will do is, here's the list of files that it will convert to an SVG. So you'd have Adobe Illustrator, EPS, a PDF, and a PS. And I'm going to go here, choose File, and I'm going to select the PDF that I just brought in. Click Open. Okay. And then if your PDF has more than one page, you can select the page number. My PDF only had one page, but if it had more than one, you can enter the page number here. And then you just go to Upload. I don't know if you could see it. It's very quick. And that fast, it had converted it to an SVG. And then you click here, and it says it's only available for the next 24 hours. So you would have to download it fairly quick. And there's your SVG. I mean, there's your PDF. And you could save it.
Yeah, that's your PDF converted into an SVG.
To the SVG, correct.
Yep. Yeah, you see the little SVG in the top right of that URL.
And then you click Save As. And then you could give it a name. I'm just going to type flower for now. And then click Save. And there it is right here.
Pretty cool, pretty cool. I got a question from Barb. I'll post that up here. And she's referring to Make the Cut in here. Does it save in layers when you save as an SVG?
In Make the Cut?
Yeah, so you already, your flower that you layered nicely, you gave each its own layer, right?
Yes.
And when you export that as an SVG and you bring it back in, does it go into its own layers? Now,
the way I have it here, I have them all laid out here. When you open it up, that's the way it will bring them in, is this way. But if I have them on top of each other like that, they will come in together.
Yeah, they'll come in together. I think she's referring to your layer palette. Will they look like that? You see how your layer palette has a black one on top?
Yeah, in certain programs it'll come in that way. You'll have layers.
Yeah.
It depends on the program that you're using.
I think Shortcuts a lot. It puts them as groups.
It'll put it as a group.
Yep. If you bring it back into Make the Cut, it will bring it back. It will import it.
It will import it as layer. Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why, but I don't know about bringing it in Inkscape. I haven't tested that out.
Oh, I didn't try Inkscape, no.
If it layers it out, but hey, while Michelle's, or when we go on to another subject, I'll test it out in Inkscape while we're on the topic, and I'll come back to you on that one.
Okay. I'll go to Shortcuts a lot.
All right.
Okay. And I'm going to click on the Import button. And I'm going to bring in the PDF. Okay. Sorry. Okay, and then I'm going to resize my screen a little bit. Okay. And I'm going to move my layers over here.
So it looks like Shortcuts a lot brought it into the mat all in color.
It brought it in all in color, and as you can see right here, well, I don't have it ungrouped yet, but there's the folder right here. And then if you click the arrow, you can see all the layers here.
Yeah. And this is not the SVG, this is the PDF.
Correct.
Okay.
I'm sorry, did I say?
No.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
just making sure for people,
Okay.
for people out there.
Okay. And I'm just going to resize it a little bit so you can see it. And maybe I will. Is that a little bit better?
Yeah, that looks good.
Okay. Okay. And then I'm going to go up to Object. And I'm going to go up to Ungroup. Okay. And I'll bring this over here so you can see my layers. Okay. And you can see all the individual layers here. Okay, so once again, this needs to be, the images need to be grouped before you can use them. I'm just going to resize this smaller a little bit there. Okay. Okay, so then you have to do, the same exact thing. Group them, and see when you group that section right there, you can see it selected all these layers right here. And then I'm just going to hit delete. And I'm going to delete that. And all these layers right here looks to be this little flower right here, or this design right here. So before you can use it, you would have to group them all together. And then go to Object, Group, and see it moved it up to the top. and it created a folder. And it's just you can see all the different shapes. Okay, I'm just going to lock that as well. Just click right here, and that locks the layer so I don't move it. Then I'm just going to move it over here. Okay, and the bird, you noticed when I had when I brought it in to make the cut, there was a section, okay, and you can't see it right now. So what again, you have to select this here, and then go to Object, and go to Merge, and there's your cutout. I'm just going to move that over there, and all this I'm going to delete. I'm going to move this over here, lock it, and delete that. And I'm going to group that. Okay, and see it moved it to the top, and if you click the little arrow, you have your two separate layers. You'll have the heart right there, and the flourish is right there. So those are the two separate layers that are inside this folder. And I'm just going to get rid of that.
So it's almost like the same thing in Make the Cut. It's instead of joining, you're grouping and
grouping.
And Shortcuts a lot puts them in little folders and.
Yeah, here's your main folder.
Yeah.
And then here's all the layers inside the folder. And see, when you brought it into Shortcuts lot, it already has this joined here together. I didn't have to join it. That already was joined together. And where in Make the Cut, I had to join it.
I see.
Okay. This one has, let's see, where's that at? That particular piece has a lot of layers. You can see all them layers. That belongs to that flower right here. So if I take it, you can see all the layers it's selected. That's all the layers just for that flower. And then I'm going to go to Object and Group. I have one L left. Delete that. Okay. Okay, so now we're left with the butterfly, this flourish right here. Here's another butterfly, and the green leaf, and the bird. And this flower right here, there's the blue layer and the orange layer. See? So what I'm going to do is also select that all together, and then go to Object and Group. And now you're able to work with your shapes. These would be great for vinyl, this flourish here, because it's very, let me move this out of the way, my layers panel. Okay. You can see how thin it is in spots right here, so this wouldn't really be good for cutting on paper. It would probably shred the paper. You would have to add a shadow layer to it, but this probably would be a good design for vinyl. It may even be right here, it may even be too thin for vinyl, so you'd probably still have to add a shadow layer to it just to thicken these up a little bit. Otherwise it would never cut with paper. You would never be able to cut that design in paper. And that's that for that.
All right, pretty cool.
And this is the same with the layers panel here. It's the same as in Make the Cut. You would just, if you wanted to lock, you would just close all your layers here. And then if you wanted to hide your layers, you can just hide them. And then you would go to the layer menu and you can unlock them all by clicking unlock layers. That would unlock them all, and the same for hiding. Then you would just either hide all layers or show all layers. So if I hide all layers, and then you could toggle in between. That locks them. That will show them.
All right.
Okay.
All right. I did while Michelle was working in Shortcut Slot, I did check out an SVG exported from Make the Cut. I brought it into Inkscape, and it comes in as one layer. So hopefully that answers the question on the layers as well. All right. So was there anything else that you wanted to show, Michelle, with the PDF?
I think that was it for that.
All right. So so if you guys have any questions about the PDF, feel free to ask. But we're going to move on to what's coming up next. So what's next is Michelle's going to show us what the design team came up with for this past week. She'll tell you what patterns of the ScrappyDew library that they used. And so, Michelle, you're ready to cue that up. We'll take a look at what they...
Can you see my screen?
I can see the screen.
Okay. Okay. This is a graduation project by Angie, and she used the graduation 2013 pattern file. And then what she did here, I don't know if you could see it very well on the screen, she actually took the border from the file and she made a embossing folder. And she embossed the bottom here of her card. Does it show up good on the screen? Could you see it?
Yeah, it looks like joined stars.
Oh, does it? Oh, okay. And this is by Sherry, and she used the Flower Fairy Princess. And this file is in the spring category. I really like the colors that she used here. Great combination. And with all the pattern paper, it looks really nice.
Oh, yeah.
And this is by Jerry, and this file she used is At the Beach, and this is in the outdoor category. That's cute. Everybody's getting ready for summer. And this is a project by Jenna, and I received this in the mail today. This is a card she created for my son because
nice.
he's going to be graduating. He's going to high school next year. And she used the graduation pals. And that's the inside. She wrote him a little message. And this is another box card, and this is by Jen as well. And she used the Honeymooners file, and that could be found in the World category. And what she did here is, I don't know if you could see it too good, in order for her sentiment right here, she took and cut some clear soda bottles, and she cut strips right here. And they actually prop up the sentiment.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
I see.
Yeah, you could. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if you could see them here. It's hard to tell.
That's cool, unique.
Mm-hmm. Then she added some embellishments she purchased. That turned out really nice.
Yeah, that box template's a big hit.
Yeah, a lot of the different designers are creating the different variations on the box, and they're coming up with some really unique ideas. This project is by Leslie. It's a scrap factory project. And these are the dolls from the base set. She did a print and cut. And she also used Pop-Up Card Studio.
Yeah, I think she said that she did a little tweaking on the legs and the hands to get them to look like that.
Yeah, I believe she said she cut 2 left legs, and she and also I believe for the arms as well.
Yeah.
And then she pieced it together and make the cut. And I don't know if she welded them or not, but and then this way she was able to make it look like they're sitting. That turned out really cute.
Yeah.
And this is by Melissa. And she used the Blowing Bubbles file.
Blowing bubbles.
Mm-hmm.
Summertime fun.
Yeah. And this is in the family category. And I like how she added a layer of circles going across the page to represent bubbles.
Bubbles.
Mm-hmm. That turned out nice. And that's a close-up of the piecing. And this is also by Melissa. Another box card.
It's another box. You see this box now. What's the story of the box? Ken created this box, right?
Yeah, Ken created. I guess he saw a YouTube video and he made a file.
Yeah.
And now everybody is.
It's a free box, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah. There is designers that are creating that, and like I said, they're creating. I've seen some with a castle. One was made as a castle, and one hot air balloons. I believe one was used. So it's a really versatile file. Also, this would be great for a centerpiece if you were, had a child's party, and this happens to be for her son. It was her son's 3rd birthday, and he loves dinosaurs. But this would look great, I think, on, if you had a couple tables, you can make a centerpiece actually out of this file.
Yeah, for so many occasions: Christmas,
mm-hmm.
Thanksgiving, birthdays,
yeah,
baby shower.
Exactly. And they could be decorated really nice. There's a lot of room in here to add, different pieces. And like Jenna did, she used the soda bottles, the strips, and she was able to prop up the sentiments. And this was the Dynamite Dinosaurs she used, and that's in the animals category. And this is by Monica, and it's also a Scrap Factory project. Yeah. And she used the graduation pack, the new expansion pack. Yeah. And also the bears that are now included with Scrap Factory.
Yeah, if you guys attended the last week, we gave away the graduation expansion pack for Scrap Factory, and if you didn't get it, I think you can watch the video again, or you can be a ScrappyDew Vault member, and you can check that out. Once you sign up to be a member, you'll find it in there for the expansion pack code. It's not being sold anywhere, or I can't remember if it is. I think it is in the store.
Yeah, the graduation expansion pack is in the store. Let me see.
Yeah, so you have multiple ways to get in this. If you want to go the free route, you can go online and watch our previous video, last week's video, when we give out the code. 2 is you can be a Vault member. If you're a Vault member, you can get that graduation pack. It's now included in your membership. And if you don't have either of those, you can go ahead and check it out in the store. I think it should be under the Scrap Factory Gallery.
Yeah, Scrap Factory Gallery.
And should be right there. Yep. So that's what you get. You get the two gowns. Of course, they're the same gown, boy and girl, but the shoes are different. You got a boy
boys'
shoe, girl
shoes.
shoe. You get the title, class of 2004. You get the diploma, and of course these gown outfits will fit on any of the Scrap Factory Original Seasons expansion packs.
And there's
So
also two new hairstyles too.
yep, you get the two new hairstyles as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it says $6 on there, but if you add, I think $35 in your cart and you go to checkout, it will take 70% off. So good deal if you want to get an expansion pack for your Scrap Factory.
Mm-hmm. Now with graduation season too.
Oh yeah,
So it's just
yep.
in time.
Yeah, I guess that titling will only be good for this year, so get it while it lasts.
Mm-hmm. And that's a close-up of the bear. And I believe this is an album. I don't know if you can see it. I think she has it bound right here. And there's a little bit of netting. So I believe there's several pages that are attached this way. When she takes pictures, she can put them on the inside.
Yep, pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. And that's a close-up of the bears. And this is another Scrap Factory project. This is by design team member Paulette. And this is a summer bucket list. And what she did is, I'll show you this one here. What she did on the inside is she created these little titles, okay? And it's a refrigerator magnet she made. And there's a little pocket in here. I don't know if you can see it right there. So she created all these little titles, and she put them inside this little bucket. And then when the kids are bored, they have nothing to do, they can go to this little bucket and select what activity they want to do.
I see.
It's
That's
cute.
kind of cool.
It is. It is.
I think our bucket list would be empty by the first day.
And this is, she used the base set, and this is the summer outfit, summer outfit for the boy and girl.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a nice idea for the kids, and it would be great for the kids to get involved with as well. They could actually create their own. You could cut out the titles for them and actually have them print or write what they would like to do, and put it inside the bucket.
Mm-hmm.
Great activity for the kids to get involved with.
Pretty cool. Yeah, the design team produces a lot of great projects for us. And, I know Crystal and I we appreciate it a lot. It's always fun to see what they create with, something that Crystal comes out with.
And this is a book by SusanBlueRobot. And
yeah, SusanBlueRobot, by the way, she is watching this. She's monitoring comments as well, and her name in here is Susan Uncle. If you happen to see her comment, that's who SusanBlueRobot is. And she cuts a lot. I always forget to ask her the question: how many blades does she go through in a day, a week? I don't know.
I can imagine it's fairly a lot.
Yeah, she does great work.
She does really nice work. This book, she used several ScrappyDew files for this book. She used the Science Pals, Back to School 2013, I believe, First Day of Preschool, and I think Back to School Kids. And this is the outside of the album. And that's the first page. And she bounds them really nice too. I mean, she does a really nice job on this.
Yeah, she uses a Popup Card Studio and Make the Cut.
Popup Card Studio. Mm-hmm.
And she cuts with the zing, I believe.
Yep, there's the zing right here in the background.
Yep, I see that little panic button back there.
And there's another page.
Looks like she did some embossing on the school to make it look like
Yeah,
bricky.
it looks like a embossing folder. Mm-hmm. And she did the same with the background. She embossed this background here.
Yeah, she sent me a photo of like all the pieces all laid out that she cut out before it was all pieced together. Oh, it's like a puzzle piece.
Yeah, there's a lot of pieces to this. A lot of piecings. Each individual piece is all patterned together. There's another one. That I think is the Science Pals.
Yeah. Yeah, Susan says she doesn't go through a lot. She said not that many blades. She said she gets the most out of her blades because she hates getting new ones. So.
There's another one. Graduation. And there's the book. You can see how nice it's bound. How nice she puts it all together.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
She needs to do a
it's
video
really nice. Yeah, she needs, yeah.
on how to bind these.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that turned out great.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Good job, Susan. Good job.
Yeah, she did a great job on that.
All right.
Did you want to mention about the eggbot code? I don't know if someone was asking a question about it.
I'll post that up here.
This is the link right here.
Yeah, this comes from Barb Reese. She said this. She said last week mentioned a link about that we needed in order to help us with Inkscape, and I did forget to put it in, but it's a plugin and it's called Eggbot plugin.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, you can go to the you can look up there at the link up there. It's a pretty long link, but we also posted it in the comment section, so you can go ahead and click on it, or you can just do a Google search for Eggbot.
And this is the file right here that you downloaded right here, the second one to use with Inkscape last week.
Yeah, I think one of them was just for a Mac. It just had a Mac thing on it. You're gonna have to look for one that has an exe if you're on Windows, and usually the exes are installers. So.
Oh yeah, here's the Windows installer right here. Windows installer for Eggbot. So yeah, this would be the one right here. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 down.
If you have Inkscape open, you'll want to close out of it so it can load all of its plugins. So.
Mm-hmm.
So close out of it, install it, and then reopen your Inkscape up, and it should work. You should see it under the expansions, like we did last week. All right, so we have a couple comments from Susan, or for Susan, I guess. So we had this one from Liz. Says, Susan, you do great work. She has a video on how she binds her books. So cool. Yeah, I didn't know about that. So she does have a video on how she binds her books.
Oh, okay.
So maybe Susan can post a link on that in the comments so we can track that. All right. And Vicky says, beautiful book, Susan. Yep. She does a great work. Very good work. All right. So we're done with the Eggbot one. All right. So Michelle, if you're ready for this question, this one was done before the show started. So like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to post them. Even before the show starts, you can ask questions, and like I said, we'll get to them. So Michelle and I, we were actually talking about this before you brought this one up, Barb. But it's what's the best way to organize your SVG files? You know, a lot of them come in a zip file, so you have to unzip them, then you move them to another directory. But how can you see the pictures and what they have, and you know, et cetera. And I want to say that all modern browsers now, I think IE 9 and above, Google Chrome and Firefox, they all now will see an SVG file. I mean, you can, but I don't know about previewing. I know on a Mac we actually get a preview of it. Michelle, do you know? Do you have anything to say on SVGs?
Well, what they could do is once they unzip the file, some people what they do is they will save the files to a disk or maybe the cloud, and they'll just save the zip files. And then what they will do is it depends how you want to group your files. You can group them by designer. You can create separate folders for each designer, and inside each folder then you could categorize it like fall, spring, summer, baby, tags, things like that. Or you could create one main folder. You could call it SVGs or whatever you want to call it. You could then inside that folder then create your main folders. You could create fall, spring, summer, tags, borders, mats, etc.
Now, is there anything to, I don't play around with Windows too much to actually see what that SVG is? I mean, you may have a thing called tags, and you may also have a file name like tag 3, but you don't have no idea what that tag looks like. Tag 3.
Well, that's where if, depending on how designers label their folders, I always like to, if I download something, well, ScrappyDew already has the folders, the initials on there, SD. So that's going to tell me it's a ScrappyDew file. Some people don't have them labeled, so it's good to label them by either the designer. It's your preference, however you want, however you think you'll remember. If you do it by initials, or you could just, like I said, create one big file for fall, and then put all your SVGs in that particular folder.
And something else that just popped in my mind is maybe you may want to go into, you open it up in your cutting machine, and then you can export a JPEG file and just name it the exact same thing that your SVG is, and then you'd be able to see that photo and then be like, okay, that's the photo I want. What's that file name again? Oh, I named it the same, and find that they should be right next to each other if you sort them alphabetically.
Mm-hmm. Can you see my screen?
Let's see here. Yep, I can see it.
Okay. So see, this would be the main folder, SVG, and then inside SVG, I just did this, for an example. I have birthday, borders, mats, tags, boy, Christmas, Easter, fall, flowers, and then inside you can put, your files. I don't think I have many in here. No, I was just doing examples today. And this is what I was talking about for ScrappyDew. There's initials SD, and then the name of the pattern file.
Mm-hmm.
Then when you open that up, this is going to be the individual files, the folders, excuse me. You get a vector PDF, an SVG, make the cut, and then you also get an image preview.
And I think what we're doing now is we just have the main photo in. Maybe you can explain it, Michelle, better. I thought you said like Angie. I think Angie, she wanted to be able to see what's inside of her folder without going into it on Windows. Do you remember that conversation we had?
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. So if you have a lot of people are mainly on Windows computers, and what we've been doing lately is you see the README text and you see the little ScrappyDew on YouTube. We put it into a folder so that only on the top level, the only file that is in there is the photo, and the goal was so that when you show our folder in Windows, it should have like a little image preview before you even open the folder. Is that right?
Yeah, I don't have many files on the Windows side, so
yeah,
everything is on the Mac side, so I really can't show that. But when you open the folder, when you have the folder will have a preview of what's actually inside your folder, and it would be this image right here.
Yeah.
So when you look at your folders, you would see this image here. So then you'll know that's what's exactly inside this folder, is this particular file. And then inside, like I said, you'll find the WPC, there's the vector, the SVG, the MTC, and Studio, and then also inside is the layout maps. Okay. And this will show you each, like if this is layered for file 1. Okay. So this will show you exactly what is contained in file 1. So this particular file has 10 files inside. So if you're wondering what, when you go to say SVG, well, that's kind of a bad example because I could see that, like to make the cut, okay? You can't see exactly what these files are. So if you open this folder here, the layout map, okay, they're all layered 1 through 10. And you can just open them all up. And if you're wondering what to cut, this is the set of balloons. And those are all the pieces for the balloons. And there's the completed piecing at the bottom. And these are all the pieces that would be for that piecing.
And that layout stuff, that's just for ScrappyDew. I don't know how the other designers do it.
Mm-hmm.
I did want to show you on my screen here. I got my windows pulled up.
Okay.
And so basically, this is what we're talking about: is when you get a file from ScrappyDew, and you go to your display, either large icons or extra large, like I have here. You go through them, and you should see the very top layer, like this Aladdin one. We just started doing this. I want to say like mid 2013. So anything with that, you'll be able to see a quick little preview of what's inside there without actually opening it up. So, but yeah. And then I also talked with Michelle earlier this week about, to go along with that question, best way to view SVGs. And you brought up the point that there used to be the SVG viewer that Adobe made, but they are not supporting it anymore. There's no way to download it. I can't remember.
You could still download it, but they don't support it anymore.
Yeah. So, but like I said, all brand new browsers now they will show an SVG. I mean, you can even right-click an SVG and say Open With, and you'll be able to open it with a modern browser. As long as you're not using XP or something. All right. Going to move on from that topic, and if you're okay, Michelle, we're going to go with the Silhouette Studio.
Okay.
And here's the question, and it's from Kim. And she says, last time Ken, he was showing us in the Cricut design space that it would automatically put different colored pieces into layers. Is there any other software that does that at this time, or does it the same? And Ken does have a lot of, he has his own little tutorials that he does on the Silhouette Design Studio.
Mm-hmm.
And let me screen share real quick, because I did want to share that with you guys. So on Ken's website, if you just go over here to Silhouette Tutor Series, he's got some new quick tips, and it is the one with this one right here, Quick Tip Cut Settings. That is the one that we're going to be going over just a little bit right there. But you can go to his blog and check that out, and he's going to go in more into depth about it. Michelle, she's just going to lightly brush over some of the advanced cutting features that the new version 3 has. Okay, so I think she's got her screen all spooled up, and that's the only software program that I know of that does that so far. Is that right, Michelle? Have you seen any?
Correct that, and I believe that probably came from Design Studio. They also will, put all the group all the files into color. So I think that's where maybe that question, someone else, they wanted to know if there was an additional software that would do that. But I'm going to open a file.
Are you going to use that one that you made?
I'll use the Aladdin one right here.
Okay.
I have that one right here. Okay. Okay, as you can see, there are, the files are already grouped by color. You have your black, and then your body, and her outfit. Okay. If you go to your cut settings, okay, and then you go to advanced, okay, you can cut by line color. And right now I don't have any line colors attached to any of these piecings. I'll show you that in a minute. Or you could do the fill color.
Yeah, you can probably think about line color. I haven't tested this out, but as a stroke,
As a stroke, correct.
The outline, and ScrappyDew's files, they don't have outlines on them, so they should all be the same. I guess that's what Studio is detecting. But the fill colors, which is what she's on right now, is what we do. We do color them all, the same.
And you can see they are separated by fill color. You have your black layer and your turquoise and your lighter turquoise, brown, and your flesh color and white, and then no color. And if you wanted to just cut, say, the hair, then what you would do is you would just turn off these layers here. Okay, and you would just cut your black layer first. You could lay out your whole design on the mat, and there's no, I think the question was they didn't want to move the pieces off the mat. Was that correct? So you wouldn't have to.
She wouldn't have to separate the pieces herself and I guess drag them off the mat depending on what color was going to cut.
Yeah, you would be able to keep your whole design on the mat. You wouldn't have to, move the pieces each time you were going to cut. Also with Make the Cut and Scale, you can lay your design out on the mat, and again, you would just click the eye to hide the layers. Yeah. So that type of hiding you can do in Make the Cut and Scale.
Now, something else that's on that advanced tab that you see is the material, and you can choose what material you're cutting your pieces out of as well. Now, I don't know if you chose different.
You can select it. The materials are right here.
Does the Cameo, if whatever you select there for the blade setting, does it automatically turn itself?
Yeah, if you for like the cardstock right here.
Yep.
It's already preset. It's set on 5.
You don't have to do any twisting or settings to the thing. So if you had multiple sheets on that on your mat, different material, that blade would automatically change settings automatically.
Correct.
Based on the medium.
I mean, you could change it yourself if you had a special paper that you knew would just not cut, from the predetermined settings. You can change them as well. Okay. Some paper is thicker, and like the basil paper, that's really thick. So you would have to really put the thickness up. I would put it up higher, and you could change your speed setting to, and then if you want to do a double cut, that might be an option as well, because sometimes one pass isn't going to cut. Depending on what you're cutting, it's not going to work. So you'd have to click the double cut, and it would cut twice.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
And then for each layer, you could change the material that you want to use. For the black layer, you could choose cardstock, and then if you wanted to maybe cut the top layer here out of vellum, then you can change this layer here. You could change that into, I don't know what the setting is here. There's different settings here for the specific material that they have for silhouette. There's tattoo paper, textured cardstock. Here's vellum right here. So if I was to say this color right here, the turquoise, I haven't played much with this. Let me see. Yeah, there, changed it to vellum.
Yep. Yeah, so it would change its cut depth.
And then if you wanted to, say you wanted to cut this out of vinyl, which, I mean, you wouldn't, but then it would change it to vinyl. And then, like I said, you would just hide, you would uncheck all these layers here, and you would just cut your black layer. And then when you're finished cutting the black layer, then you could cut the next whatever color. And then you continue to do that, hiding and unhiding your layers. And then this way you wouldn't have to remove anything from the mat, or your whole design would be able to be on the mat.
Good deal, good deal.
And then for line color, okay.
Yeah, that's where you'd actually have to go do a little more work in the program and select what you wanted to be as a line color.
Yeah, you would select all these pieces here for the body. And right now there is no line color. So if you wanted to select red, okay. And just to show for the black, I'll select the black pieces and I'll put them on, I'll do a yellow. And I'll do, say, a pink. I don't know if I can't see if it's selecting it, did it? Okay.
Looks like it.
And then go to the cut settings. Okay. So there's the black. I only grab this part right here. There's your yellow. So you could cut by line color. So if you unhid the these layers here, and you just had the pink, then that would be, you would be cutting this layer right here, because I changed the line setting to pink.
That's outlined in pink. Yep. So anything that's outlined in pink would be cut.
And then the hair, I outlined this part in yellow. That's what the line settings would be. In the body I did in red. So anything you had in red, that would be the body, that would be cut, that layer there. And then you could cut, if you wanted to cut by layers, then you could just name each layer here. And then you do the same, you would hide all these layers when you're cutting. So there's a lot of choices. Most people, I think, would use the fill color.
Yeah, yeah. Especially with the ScrappyDew patterns, because they're already pre-colored.
They're already colored.
Yeah.
And you don't have to, you won't have to add a line color to each of the pieces. It's already done for you. So you would just basically just unhide and hide the layers. That would be it.
Yep, so that's a pretty cool feature that they put into the advanced settings.
And this will be only for version 3. This is the new software.
Yep, version 3. And like I said, if you need any more detail on that, and if you go to Ken's blog, he's got a 15-minute video just on this. And
yeah, he covers all the settings and the blade settings.
Yep, Ken does a good job. Good job on videos and explaining things. All right, I'm not seeing any more questions on that. Like I said, if you have any questions on anything that we covered today, or if you'd like to see something else, feel free to put it in the comments below, whether that be on YouTube or the live event page that you're watching this on. All right, so since I didn't see any questions on that, and if I do see questions, we can go back to it. I wanted to go into you for you Scrap Factory users, and we have something new that's going to be out today, and I'll tell you, you're gonna love the pricing point on it. So let me go ahead and screen share here, and right there. All right, so last week, if I believe it was last week, we talked about the Scrap Factory bears, and so now you have these 4 sets of bears, okay, and they will fit with any outfit that is currently installed on your. So if I go down here to bears, you know, and I go to outfits, you know, based upon the outfit that I selected, based on the body I selected, it will show the outfits. So check out all those outfits that will fit that bear. Okay. So then let me go to my other computer so I can release these puppies now, and we'll show you something else. All right. So let me go ahead and refresh my expansion pack. All right, it's updating right now. All right, so if I go back to my bears, I should see some more here. Let's see. I call them hair bears. Okay, so what's a hair bear? Well, these bears are sized perfectly to fit all the hairstyles. So if I go to mix and match, so all these hairs that you see right here, if you want to add some hair to your bears, that's the bear that you would choose, and it will fit all those hairs from the original pack, as well as you got the original pack right here, and then you got the season pack right there. So that's where all these hairstyles are coming from, but they will fit those bears. So now the price of those bears, well, they are included. So all you have to do is, if you have Scrap Factory, just close out of it if you have it open and just reopen it, and you should be able to see it. So hopefully that's a good price point for all you Scrap Factory owners. You now get more bears, hair bears, and then you get fluffy bears. Like I said, with the fluffy bears, the hair doesn't fit, so you may have to resize it. But with hair bears, they will definitely fit without any resizing. So hopefully that's a new addition that you guys like for the Scrap Factory. Okay, and if you don't have Scrap Factory, you can, if you are a ScrappyDew Vault member, there's a little discount code in there, so I'll go check that out. Or you can just go to scrappydew.com/paperdolls, and you can go ahead and purchase your own Scrap Factory doll builder. So pretty cool, right, Michelle? Get a little hair bear.
Yeah, they look nice. A lot of variety now.
Yep. So we're continually to add to them. I know Crystal, she's working on, I think, a sports one coming up, right? Yeah. So she's gonna be coming out with a sports one. It's gonna be probably after Memorial Day. I know SusanBlueRobot, she's given me one already, and she's even given me you know, an accessories pack as well, and I'll probably have those out next week for you guys. So yep, so Susan has a lot of expansion packs. So like I said, this stuff is not just ScrappyDew. You have you do have so SusanBlueRobot. She has pets. She has Barnyard Friends, and you can go check out all her expansion packs that she has on SusanBlueRobot.com. You also have Paper Piecings by Nikki. You know, you got hairstyles, outfits. So check those out. You know, there's Prince and Princess. So, like I said, it's not just a ScrappyDew thing. Other people are creating as well with the Scrap Factory.
I was generating a piecing today, and I used one of Susan's animals. I dressed up in a diva suit.
You put an animal in a diva suit?
Yeah. I just had some time to kill and I was playing around. It's cute. I mean, there's a lot of variations that you could come up with. It's, you know.
Yep. Yep. All you have to do is select a body style, hairstyle,
Hmm.
outfit. You can choose an accessory if you have that expansion pack and generate an SVG, and you can import that into any one of your cutting programs that allows SVGs. Make the Cut, Shortcuts a lot, Cricut Design Space, or Cricut Design, Silhouette Studio, I guess Designer Edition. So, so yeah, pretty cool, pretty good program. Um, but yeah, all right. So that's your Scrap Factory update. Hopefully everything goes all right with Ken. I know with his family emergency, and hopefully he'll be back next week with some more Cricut news. He's my Cricut person. He follows it religiously, and he knows a lot about it. And that's who I had planned on talking to you today about some of the new things with the Cricut Explorer, whether that be the Bluetooth dongle that they have now and some of the new updates that they came out with for Design Space. So I'm going to go check the questions one more time, and if Michelle, you have anything else to put out?
I don't think
Great.
so.
Okay, I'm not seeing any more questions. So I do hope that you guys enjoyed these types of video lessons. If you have any topics, please feel free to suggest them as we'll take a look at it, and we'll more than likely cover it. And if you have that question, I'm sure other people have that question as well. I did want to just remind you that when if you want to stay in the know with ScrappyDew here, if you go to ScrappyDew.com and you go ahead and once the site pops up here, you go to Video Library Live Events. If you click the live event there, go ahead and sign up for that newsletter, and that way you'll be notified when we have this next ScrappyDew Live event, as well as if you go down here where it says follow us on Google, click that and click the follow button. So those are two best ways for you guys to stay in the know on when we're doing this. Typically it'll always be Wednesday. That's what we've been working with, around anywhere from 9 to 9:30. It just changes, depends on people's schedule. So yeah, thanks again for watching, everybody. Yep, getting some more comments coming in, and so we got Susan, very interesting, thanks. We have Jean, she said, got the bear, so cute, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you're very welcome, and thanks for using the program, and we love seeing your designs that you guys come up with. Feel free to email them to us, and we'll show them on the next show. Get your work out there and let people see it. So, all right, I guess that about covers it. Thanks for watching. And I think that's about it. And we'll see you next time. Okay, feel free to keep on commenting down below. We'll watch it. We'll get to it. Get to it this week. All right. Thanks, guys.